Well, hello, my fellow resellers and reseller wannabes and voyeurs and all other guests. Happy Sunday, guys and gals. Um, I am doing the first Q&A show for the channel. I asked you guys last week to ask some questions down below in the description, and I'll ask, not the description, the comments. And I'm going to ask you again, like if you could please leave comments um, down below with questions. If you have a comment, that's great. But if you're going to bother to leave a comment, do me a big favor and think of a quick question too that I could throw up on this show, because I'm pretty lazy by nature, and the more input and assistance I get from you guys with this show, the less work I have to do. It'll kind of just write itself at that point. I just have to answer questions. So um, the effort you guys put into this show, which that's something else that I've been thinking about, is that um, I kind of like the idea of the Q&A show because of its interactive nature. Kind of raising the kimono up a little bit, and talking more on a personal level as opposed to eagle's eye view level of the reselling game. Maybe I should make this a live show. Uh, I kind of resisted it at first. I don't think I have quite the subscriber base yet. But if I'm armed with questions coming in from the comments, then I could go ahead and go through those questions regardless of how big the audience is. So I think maybe starting next week, I might go ahead and make this a live Q&A show. If you guys have any thoughts on that, just throw them down below along with your question for next week. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think I would really, because that's one of the things I really like the most about Thursday's Seth and Lonnie show, is I love the audience participation. So maybe I can get a little more of that on Sundays. So this is kind of the lineup. If y'all have been kind of keeping track, I'm going to a 7-day shooting schedule, which is, believe it or not, even though a lot of these videos are only like 20 minutes or so, putting a YouTube video up each and every day is a little more grueling than you think, because you don't always have something to say. So you have to have some kind of plan. So this is my plan so far, guys. Let y'all take a look at it. I don't have anything for Monday yet, and I'm going to ask for some more help there. If you guys have any ideas, I'm putting something up regardless. But if you guys have any ideas, some type of format you would like to see, not a very specific type of video you want to see, but more of a broad style show that I could do each and every week, that'd be great. And preferably something that doesn't require a ton of production value would be nice, because as I say, I don't like to spend too much time in post-processing, which is to say hardly any at all. Now, I will show you on Wednesday here. It's going to be a how-to technical show, and that's something I haven't done before. That's when I am planning on doing a little more work. This is going to be probably a kind of video where I'm going to put 2 hours into it for 20 minutes of footage. That's just the nature of doing those kinds of how-tos, and it's going to be, on different things like photography, packing, how to. I'm thinking about maybe going through the whole process of an FBA shipment on a video, things of that nature. That's going to be a new Wednesday show. Now, Tuesday is just going to be kind of a what I sold show. Friday and Saturday are still pickup shows for now. Those 3 shows all kind of write themselves based on the stuff that I either picked up or sold. And then, of course, Thursday is the Seth and Lonnie show, and believe it or not, we put quite a bit of effort into that throughout the week and during the show. They can go up to 2 hours so far. So, so if you can give some feedback on, what do you think about a live Q&A show, and also just what time frame would be convenient for you. I'm not necessarily going to match the time frame, but if I'm kind of iffy on whether I want to go at 9 or 10 CST, maybe I'll take a look and see what works best for you guys, because I do want to have the highest, highest number of people in the audience as possible. And then any ideas you have for the Monday show. So moving on. So if y'all saw the last video, I had a shirt. They're real and they're spectacular. And I want to just give a warning to any of you that are YouTube creators. Make sure you never miss or don't blow a Seinfeld reference, because I did here, and I knew it was trouble right away. As soon as I finished the video, and it was actually uploading to YouTube, I took the shirt, I showed it to my wife. I said, "Hey, I have a shirt for you," and she kind of laughed and she said, "Oh yeah, that's from Seinfeld, huh?" And I was like, "Oh no," because as soon as she said it, I remember the episode. It's where Jerry wants to know if they're real or not, and he gets Elaine in on the deal, and she ends up falling into the woman in the sauna. You've probably seen the episode, but anyway, you don't want to miss those Seinfeld references. Or if you do, you're going to get a little feedback from it, which is cool. It's fun. But Joel said the saying stems from a Seinfeld episode. Then 50, is that 50 flip side? I wonder if that's supposed to be, man, that's not good to misspell your username. 50. Should be thrifty, I guess. Anyway, the actress from Seinfeld that says they're real and they are spectacular is Terry Hatcher. Could be another keyword. Thanks for sharing. And that's true. I do need to use. I'll go ahead and spam Seinfeld and Terry Hatcher in the keywords whenever I list that. That's a good idea. Thank you. And then Norman Bates says real spectacular is Seinfeld. Yeah. Thank you, Norman. But yeah, thanks Joel, Norman, and 50 Flipside for noticing the Seinfeld reference. So let's get to the questions. So Monkey Punk says, Intellivision looks cool, Lonnie. Never heard of it either. And he's referring to the Intellivision 2 that I picked up this past weekend. What's the name of your eBay store? So as of right now, and this might change in the future, I'm not going to be giving out the name of my eBay store. Although I know I've flashed it a few times in some of my sales videos when I'm scrolling around. I have flashed it. So, or there's definitely ways that you can get it. I'm just not going to publish it out there, mainly because nobody else does. I'm not really, if you're on YouTube, you're already showing kind of that you're not that scared of the public, even though maybe you should be. But if you really need it or want it for some reason or have some questions, shoot me a private message on YouTube, or better yet, you could send an email by using one of those links on one of those links in YouTube. I think you got to put in like a code or something, and it'll show you my email address. Just contact me, say hey, introduce yourself, real name, all that stuff, and I'll give you the eBay store name, but I'm not going to just publish it. And it's a funny story too. I actually I got a message on eBay, and I'm not going to say who it's from, but they were actually they actually said, "Hey, I saw your videos on YouTube, and they were actually interested in something that I showed on one of my videos, and they were wondering when I was going to list it because they wanted to buy it." So I thought that was pretty funny. So. But yeah, for now, guys, I'm not going to publish the name of the store. Okay, I thought this was a really good question from the Angry Picker. He says, what's some advice you give for someone who deals with snowy winters? And as being someone that lives in the deep south, we don't have snowy winters. We might have snow once every 5 years here. But we still do have cold winters, and we have a period of time where things just shut down for yard sales. Probably for us, it's, I would say, mid-December, probably just before Christmas, maybe a week before Christmas, through sometime in March. So it's probably a little over 3 months here. It's kind of the dead season for yard sales. There's a few every now and then, but for the most part, they're dead. So I don't know how long of a dead season you're talking about there, Angry Picker. But here is kind of my plan, because the first year, the reason I like this question, the first year I was doing this, I pretty much ran out of inventory, and I was having to really scramble to find stuff to sell. It was not very fun. And what it kind of taught me was that whenever the sales are going on, like right now, or in the spring, summer, and fall, when you've got a lot of yard sales to go to, like the first year, I would go out and I would get enough stuff, I thought, for the week, and I would come back in and I would maybe leave some yard sales on the table. I might go out for 2 or 3 hours and come back, and I'd sell my stuff that week and everything was great. But that's a mistake because of those dead months. You need to, every time you go out, you need to go out to every yard sale you can until it's not really feasible anymore to go. So you need to spend all day. You need to buy every single thing that is profitable for you to sell, within the margins that your business model has you working within. I say never stop buying. And if you don't have the storage at your house, you need to go either build or rent some storage. And, basically you're going to be like a squirrel. Whenever times are good, you're going to harvest all your stuff. And then when there's nothing there to harvest, then, you go to your storeroom or whatever, and then you sell from there. And I did it this past winter, and it worked great. It was actually pretty nice, not sourcing and still having plenty of stuff to sell. So don't stop buying. And of course, during the winter, you can also investigate alternative sourcing methods. Thrift stores are still open. Check out the auction houses. Check out government auctions. Facebook buy-sell groups are real good around that time of year, although I do find they're getting more competitive. Craigslist, I've had a lot more success selling than buying on Craigslist, but it's definitely an opportunity. I mean, you just have to get creative in the winter if you don't have the inventory already saved up. The better plan is to already have the inventory saved up from yard sales. So I thought that was a good question, because if you're in your first year doing this, you might not be prepared. So. All right, so Prairie Picking Girls, and they do have I wanted to mention too, Angry Picker, he did start a YouTube channel. I think he's only got one video up so far. It was pretty good. Hopefully he's going to make some more. And Prairie Picking Girls, I saw they just put a video up today, and they have a channel too. It's pretty good. How long have you been selling full time? Do you contribute to a retirement fund? Okay, I've been reselling full time for about, 2 years and 3 months now. 2 years and 3 months, and I am embarrassed to say that I do not currently contribute to a retirement fund. Right now, everything that I make is either going to bills or it's going to growing the business, buying more stock, expanding. I just don't have the margin to contribute to a retirement fund at this point. I think it's a good thing to think about, and it's something I certainly need to do soon. So, I'm glad you asked the question. But no, as of right now, I do not contribute to a retirement fund. And it's one of those things you need to think about, because if you're working just a 9 to 5, you'll most times have a 401k thing set up, and it's automatically coming out of your check. Don't really have to think about it. So, good question. All right, here's Deborah. I'm going to mess the name up. Deborah Quebler or Kubler? I'm going to go with Quebler. Or Quebler. I'm going to say Quebler. Deborah Quebler. Hi, Lonnie. I'm a new subscriber and love your show. Great content. Thank you. I only sell on eBay, Etsy, and Bonanza, not Amazon. So how many items would you say you list per day on eBay, and what is your average workday hour-wise? Do you take pics on your cell phone or regular camera? Thank you. Uh, that's a Those are some good questions there, Deborah. And where's my camera? Here it is. Whoa. Okay. So, how many items did you say you list per day on eBay? I list just about every day. I list at least something. I'm going to say that I probably list on average. I probably average about 10 items a day on eBay. And it kind of depends on if they're higher end items that maybe take a little longer to list. Maybe not as many, or if I'm doing a lot of smalls, I could list up to 50 in a day. It really depends. Not all weeks are the same. Kind of depends on what I've been sourcing. What is your average workday hour-wise? Okay, another good question. I would say, well, we're coming back into the school time now, and I bring the kids to school. I get back around 7:30, and I pretty much go all day until I got to go pick the kids up again. That's at 2:30. Then I get back to work. So really, I put in a good 5 8-hour days. That's not including what I do on YouTube, which I do consider that part of my business too now, since it produces a little meager income for now. Hopefully, it's going to get bigger. So yeah, 5 8-hour days, and then that's not including the weekend yet. On the weekends, well, that does include Friday, but on Saturday, I'm putting in another good 7 hours or so. So not including YouTube, I'm going to say I feel pretty good about saying 50-hour work week is what I'm looking at right now. And that might seem like a lot if you're working a 40-hour work week. But just remember, when I roll out of bed, I'm at work. So there's no commute. And, I work when I want. I'll take off for, if I got something to do, I'll take off for an hour. Or if I want to stay up late one night and catch up on stuff, I can do that too. But yeah, I would say probably a 50-hour work week is an average for me, I guess. I probably ought to start tracking that time for a while just to kind of get a clear picture on that. That's a good idea. Okay, do I take pics on my cell phone or regular camera? Thank you. So the answer is probably 90% of the time I'm using this. This is a Canon, can't remember which model it is. I've had several. It's a Canon Rebel T5, and I've had a bunch of different Canons over the years. It's a Canon Rebel T5 DSLR, and it's got a 28 to 135 lens, and it does have this is important, the little stabilizer function on it. It's a good all-purpose lens. The camera is probably about if you bought it new now, it might be a $300 camera, just the body. And the lens is probably worth somewhere around the same, maybe $250 to $300, something like that. So yeah, that's what I usually use. And I also use a cube, which I'm going to show because I have kind of a plan. I want to do a comparison because I think cell phones are great for a lot of stuff, but some stuff I don't think they're good enough for. And I want to do a show on, just comparing cell phone versus maybe compact camera versus SLR, and just showing what the different results are that you can get. I do use cell phone too sometimes, especially if it's like more of a commodity product where people know what it looks like. There's not a lot of variation. Condition isn't really an issue, especially maybe if it's sealed or maybe if it's not something that's even remotely collectible. I'll use a cell phone, or maybe if I'm shooting something outside, I'll use a cell phone for that too. And I'm not making any judgment. I think cell phones are great, and I think you could get by just on cell phone just fine. But I think you can get by a little better with a SLR. But I'm kind of a camera nerd too, so keep that in mind. Okay, finally we have Chelsea, who's been watching the channel pretty much from the start almost, I think. Hi Lonnie, thanks for another interesting video. You're welcome, thank you. I would love to watch your broadcast live, but unfortunately the timing isn't very good for the UK. And I already did respond to this in the thread, but Chelsea, I am going at some point, I'm going to be on in the UK. If you guys watch Nick Hills, he's got a fantastic reseller channel. He's one of the first I've ever started watching. I think he's got over 10,000. Let me go to his channel real quick because it's really good. He's got over 10,000 subs. He's very popular, both here and abroad. Obviously, he's going to be a little more popular where he's at. Oh no, he's not quite at 10,000. 8635. But Nick Hills, no K in it. He's really fantastic. But you can see he has this this live chat show on Thursdays. He contacted me a couple of weeks ago asking if I'd be interested in coming on one day, and I told him absolutely I would. So I don't know when it's going to be because he has a partner in crime, Zahir Malik, that he does a show with on Thursday, and I think they kind of want to have just them and then a guest, and then he's got other guests lined up. So I don't know when it's going to be, but I will be on a future show with Nick, which will be pretty cool because he was actually the first reseller I started watching on YouTube, even before I started watching guys in the States. And I still think he's one of the best too. Okay, so quick question. How much of an effect has reselling had on your family slash social life? All the best, Alan. Alan, that's a really good question because, and it's one of the reasons that I like the YouTube community. And working from home and being super flexible on when I can work or when I need to work, it's had a terrific impact on my family life. I never miss anything when it comes to my kids. If there's a play, if there's a field trip, I can go chaperone if I want. I'm there to bring my kids to school and pick my kids up every single day. My wife and I, whenever we want to do anything, we can. This past season, I got to go to all the basketball games. I'm a big-time basketball fan, and I went ahead and bought season tickets this past year for LSU basketball, and I got to go to all the games I wanted to. It's none of this, oh, I have to work that day or anything. I don't have to work that day. If it's important enough, I can put work off and go have fun and then do the work later. So, I mean, as far as family life, you cannot beat it. Now, having said that, if you work when you're a full-time reseller, to be honest, it's kind of a lonely gig, especially if you've been working, if you're used to working around other people for, I'm 42 years old. I've worked in jobs my entire life, and a big part of the job has been, the water cooler talk. You go on break, or, you're at your desk or whatever, and there's constantly this rapport with your coworkers. Some of it good, some of it bad. But then inevitably you make friends and, hang out with some of them after work or, just, a lot of social interaction that goes along with actually having a job. Really the only social interaction you get as a reseller is, like in the course of your regular work day would be, eBay questions. That's not really very social. When you go out sourcing, that's not social. You're going to get a little small talk, but that's about it. So, for me, that was one of the big reasons that I started the YouTube channel. You're really missing out on the social aspect of work. As far as the other social life, outside of family and work, I'm a 42-year-old married guy anyway. kind of limited on social life just because of that, just because of my age and situation and all that, which is cool. But the work social life thing is definitely a missing element there, and I think it's something a lot of people really struggle with. So I think it's important. I think YouTube fills a nice role there, and that's probably one of the reasons. Like during the day when I'm working, I've got a second screen right here, but while I'm working, I'll just queue up like hours of YouTube content, reseller content, and I'll have it playing in the background. So it's almost like kind of strange, I know, but it's almost like you have your workmates right there in the room, and you're kind of listening to them while you're working. So it can kind of fill a role there, and also whenever I do even like this video, this is me reaching out to some of my coworkers, even though we're not in the same exact business. We're not working from not in the same company or anything like that. We resellers do kind of share a common bond. So I feel like I could say coworker, but this is my way of kind of reaching out and getting feedback from the reseller community. So that's why I think that's a really good question, Alan. So there is a void in the work social life for sure, and I think YouTube is a good way to fill it. Facebook can be a good way to fill it, and I would like to hear what some of you guys do. Do y'all like this video right now? Whenever you play the reseller YouTube videos, do y'all sit there and just watch it? Watch every single minute, or do you have it just kind of playing in the background while you're actually doing work? Hopefully it's the latter. That's what I kind of assume. That's why when I ramble on long, I don't really care too much because I assume most of you guys are watching it in the background, but I'm not sure, of course. So, like I prefer longer videos, longer content because I don't have to queue up as many. So. That's all the questions I actually had this week, guys. So remember that your job is to put more questions down in the comments below, and also give me some ideas along with your question on what I can do for Monday's show, which is actually tomorrow. So hurry up. I hope y'all have a great night and a great week this week, guys. I hope y'all have some great sales. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye.